I see we are virtual, or we have the virtual link, so I will welcome all. And the mission statement for the Lake Mills Area School District is preparing all of today's students for tomorrow's opportunities. Has this meeting been properly posted?
Yes, it was posted on the LMASD website and at the Lake Mills Post Office, the Bank of Lake Mills, the LD Fargo Public Library, and submitted to the Lake Mills Leader. And those extra notices are due to our bond sale tonight.
Okay. Then, with that, I will call this meeting to order, and I will invite all those in attendance to join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And I will ask for a roll call for attendance.
Brianna Beslick. Here. Ken Eimers.
Here.
Andrea Graham.
Here.
Kirk Lund.
Here.
Amy Litcher.
Can
Here.
you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
All right. Then we will move right into our public hearing. And, oh gosh, darn it, you betcha. Are there any revisions to the agenda?
I'll move the board approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second the motion.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, now we will move to the public hearing.
And this public hearing was just an opportunity and required by state statute, as we are going to ask the DPI for a waiver. One of the state statutes, this is pretty common across, I think, the state at this point, due to the Wisconsin guarantee that school districts needed to develop some type of tiebreaker system that, because the top number of students, top 10% of the students get in. Well, a lot of our students do have a 4.0 grade point average. So if we have more than that number, we need to have a way to have a tiebreaker so we can determine then who are those top students. So that's what this is about. So there's an opportunity for people to speak. Obviously, there's nobody here tonight. So.
All right. Now, is there any, this will be taken in the action items?
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right.
Wide book read of The Anxious Generation. Please take note of that. We've actually had quite a few people sign up. We've handed out quite a few books. Several opportunities to partake in that discussion, and then just some other offerings. We will be putting out a press release to the paper introducing our two new community rec supervisors. So we will be submitting that and expect that to be in the Lake Mills Leader most likely, not this week, but next week. But they're with our two new hires then on board, we are really now reviving the 4K offerings. I know there was concern about that. That is coming back plus some. So stay tuned for the updates. I know our rec department is working very hard on all of that.
Okay.
I was just going to say, I was chatting with a parent who's a teacher in a smaller district elsewhere, but they read that same book as a school and then similarly took it into their community and talked about it within community and parent groups. And she said it had a really big impact on how they felt, just a shocking, eye-opening experience after reading it. So I'm excited to hear some feedback on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, is there any other questions? Are there any other questions? All right, we will move on then to Ms. Naylor's report.
Hello. Okay, so I have two quick updates. The first being an update on our teacher compensation committee meeting, which we had last Thursday. So at that meeting, we did a lot of discussion, a lot of talking about four different models actually we brought to the group, and then a fifth being ours. And we just talked about the pros and cons and the things that the group liked about some of those models and some of the things that maybe they didn't think is something that we should incorporate into our model. One of the biggest things that I took away was how much they really did like the model that we currently have, but really just are looking for some tweaks to it. Dollar increase that we have every 5 years in our current, it could be a retention strategy, but it also the distribution of raises is affected by that 3,000 gap in there, so that was something that we talked a little bit about too. So I gathered as much information I could in the hour and a half that we've met, wrote a lot of things down, and the next step from here is to put together a model, or maybe two, maybe a couple variations, really probably tweaking what we currently have and bringing that back to them the next meeting on the 29th, and then talking through that and kind of seeing how everyone feels about that, and then hopefully have a recommendation for the board at the meeting after that, at the next Finance Personnel Committee meeting.
Super. Will the recommendation just be the model that we're using, or will it actually have numbers tied to it? Like, because we've talked about increasing the, starting salary and things like that.
I think the hope is that we would have numbers tied to it, but it's really hard to say, not knowing what the budget's going to be. That can always be adjusted later on. A lot of what we've been talking about with this committee right now is just the model. So I think that we can probably come with some suggestions and things that would be officially approved when the budget's approved.
Okay.
Oops.
And the OPEB?
Yes. The second thing that I would like to update the board and the community on is the Wisconsin OPEB Trust. So I'm just going to kind of read what I wrote in our in the board docs. So the Wisconsin OPEB Trust is a cooperative employee future benefits of our employees while optimizing our investment returns. We talked a little bit more in depth about the strategies that PMA would recommend to us in both low risk, moderate risk, and so forth. So in light of that discussion that we had with them and the questions that they were able to answer from the board, we are going to recommend joining the OPEB Trust, and this would come in the form of 2 resolutions at the next board meeting on February 17th.
All right.
Okay.
Is there any questions? All right,
Well,
thank you.
just
go
a
ahead.
comment. I did think it was a very good presentation that he gave, and I'm a bit more conservative generally, and I felt coming out of that we had a good path on this. So, just to say,
I agree. Thank you, Ken.
Okay, is there anything else? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to board reports, and I'll turn it over to Erin Williams.
Okay, so to start off, it's almost the end of the first semester, and finals are starting on Wednesday. For finals, LINK helps, which LINK is like juniors and seniors that help freshmen. They help freshmen by hosting Cocoa and Cram sessions, and this is when the LINK leaders help them study for certain topics like world history or English, and then they're also provided with hot chocolate and snacks. Future Freshman Night is tonight, and this event gives...
And like carpeting and paint colors and floor coverings, I don't know. Again, finishes, I didn't know what finishes were before the meeting, but anyway. For the elementary school and middle school, alterations, and then the high school is a little bit more in depth, and it's still in the planning of where the special ed classes are going to be, and where the gym and the trainer and so that, and locker rooms, so that still is ongoing. We did have 2 high school students come and participate and learn from, and they were both said afterwards that it was very interesting and it was great to learn about that. So any questions?
I just love the opportunity that the kids had to be able to sit in on live action and something that they're a part of. So, yeah.
And one is hopefully going to be planning to be an art, interior designer, and the other is planning to be a tech teacher. So, perfect. So.
I want to echo that too, that I'm glad students have an opportunity to participate in some of this, so kudos.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So if there's no other questions about the referendum updates, I will move on to community comments. Are there any? Nope. All right. Seeing no community comments. Now we will go on to our consent agenda. This month's consent agenda includes the approval of the following: December 16th regular meeting minutes, December 30th Facilities Committee proceedings, January 6th, Finance Personnel Committee proceedings, January 9th, Teacher Compensation Committee proceedings, Treasurer's Report, Vouchers and Invoices, Policy 6145 Debt Management, and the Personnel Report.
I'll move the board approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Is there any specific questions or comments or discussion about any of those items?
I was just going to say I appreciated the few extra notes in the facility committee meeting. Do you have any other numbers in regards to the solar panel project, like how much more outside of the grant it might be, or, you know, the return, at how many years we might get it? Some of the other things that I've kind of asked along the way, and we weren't quite there yet in that process. I mean, not that you need to have them now, but.
Yeah, and actually, we are planning on having Wes Slaymaker do the same presentation that he did at the Facilities Committee meeting to the board in February. He's out of the country for the next 3 weeks, but he will give that same detailed information, and then I'll give the board an opportunity to ask him questions about that too. I know there's, been questions. We're finally at that point in the engineering portion of that where we've got good data.
Sounds good, thanks.
Okay.
I see we hired a bus driver too, which is really exciting. Was that tied to the event that we had at all? It was, actually.
Really?
Yes, so we reached back out to somebody had been at the event and now is getting started in the process, so. It's great. Yep.
All right.
On mornings like this, I have to give them a lot of kudos.
All right, it's been moved and seconded, and I will ask for a roll call vote.
Brianna Beslick.
Aye.
Ken Imers.
Aye.
Andrea Graham.
Aye.
Kirk Lund.
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, we are moving on to our action items, and our first one is the resolution awarding the sale of 45 million general obligation promissory notes. So, turn it over to Jordan.
All right, hello, everybody. I know Brian Brewer presented to you guys last month, but I'll say congratulations on your successful referendum. I know many years of work went into it, but now we're at the exciting stage where we actually issued the majority of the debt today. So of the $51.2 million, we sold $45 million of the bonds this morning. So since the referendum passed, we've been working to put all the legal documents, the official statement together, getting a rating on the debt. So we've been working on all of that, and a couple weeks ago, we had everything in place, and we were able to disseminate that out to potential investors or potential buyers of the debt. So they've been looking at it, taking into account everything that's going on in the market, and this morning at 10 o'clock, we accepted bids for the $45 million. So you all have this in front of you as well. There's some small numbers, so it's going to be able to better to look at it in front of you. But so these are the bids we received this morning at 10 a.m. So 5 underwriters around the country placed a bid for your debt, and the winning bid was from Northland Securities at an interest rate of 4.34%. So the good news is this is below our conservative planning estimate of 4.75 that we were using going into the referendum. And this is still below what Brian presented to you last month as well. So there has been some volatility in the market over the last month, as you see a lot in the news about jobs reports, interest rates. So there's been a lot of volatility. So it's great results that we came in below our estimates. I like that you can tell it's a very competitive bid. If you look at the first bid at 4.34% and the third bid of 4.38%, it's only a difference of 0.04%. So it's really competitive, which is a good sign. And the fact that you got 5 bids is great as well. So here are the details for the debt that we sold today. So again, it's a total amount of $45 million. It will settle on March 5th. So on that date is when this $45 million will actually be wired into your project account. It is going to mature. We're going to have one maturity this fall, and that's actually to use up your levy from this year. So a portion of this is only going to be outstanding for 6 months, which is great. That helps mitigate your interest expense. And then you're going to have a maturity next year on this. And then the remaining maturities are in 2034 through 2045. So that's getting us the full 20-year amortization on this one. And we're structuring around your existing debt. And then we're going to allow the remaining portion to fill in some of the early years as well, which I'll show you in a minute on the financing plan. Oh, if we can still go back to that page. So the call date is March 1st of 2033. So that is the date that the debt can be prepaid. So the vast majority of this debt is actually prepayable. So if we get, a few years down the line, 8, 9, 10 years, and the district wants to restructure the debt or prepay some of the debt, you have that ability to do so. There is a mechanism to prepay debt ahead of time called the cash defeasance. So you could prepay debt earlier in this if need be, but that is the prepayment date for the investors. So I indicated that we received a rating. So we worked with S&P again. Tanya and Tasha, we had a rating call with Standard & Poor's. They did a great job. And Standard & Poor's affirmed your AA rating on your outstanding debt and assigned that AA rating to this debt. So that's a fantastic rating for Wisconsin school districts. So AAA is the highest. This is the third to highest rating. So for a district, especially your size, that's a really good rating. And ultimately is what led to great results on the interest rate. So you can see that the total cost there, again, of 4.34%, and Northland Securities was the winning bid. So the next slide is the detailed financing plan that we've been working on. So again, there are a lot of numbers here, but how it flows, the far left column is your existing debt as it currently stands. Phase 1, the $45 million is what we just locked in today. So that portion is final. Phase 2 is the remaining $6.2 million, and that will be priced early next year for a couple reasons. A, to give you some flexibility. So once we have another year of information, what can your levy look like next year? And then also to get you that 21st year, so to allow us to get that amortization out to 2046. But this just provides more flexibility. There's a lot of flexibility in this plan. But if you go to the far right column, that's your mill rate column. And this is isolating the mill rate for referendum debt, right? Because you don't really have control over the rest of your levy. The state governs the operational portion. Yes.
Just a question, if this, is the $6 million getting sold and attached to an interest rate next year then?
Yes, yep.
Is
So, yep, that'll be sold 1 year from now.
Okay, would that have any, I know the impact here is zero for our taxes. Does that create any kind of question about where we'll end up with the no increase or?
Yeah, so since $6.2 million of it is not priced yet, the market can affect that, right? But that was a main reason of locking in $45 million now was to try to mitigate the risk as much as we could. Mm-hmm. So it's only $6.2 million of the total $51.2 million. We do have some cushion still in that interest rate. So you'll see we're using a planning interest rate of 4.6%. That's conservative. So even if rates move up, hopefully we can still come in at that or better. We do still have flexibility to push out debt if we need to. So we feel pretty comfortable that we can still maintain that mill rate of 252 at this time. But again, it's part of leaving that is to give us flexibility for next year to see how everything's shaking out and then price that remaining portion. And then also to get us that final year of payment. Okay. But yeah, so that far right column showing the mill rate, when it was discussed with the community, it was discussed as a potential tax impact of 2 cents on the mill rate. Because this interest rate came in lower than our planning estimates, we're now showing no impact. And then if you look at the box on the bottom right, we're showing some details of the current plan relative to the referendum planning estimate. The middle column there is the interest cost. Yeah, I know it's really hard to see, it's small numbers, but right now, again, knowing $6.2 million is not locked in yet, we're showing that the interest cost is $2.6 million below that referendum planning estimate. So this is all good news to taxpayers. So as of now, that's $6.2 million that won't need to be paid by taxpayers over the next 21 years. Again, that's relative to our conservative planning estimate, but it's good news that we're coming in better than what we were planning.
I feel like we should be like giving you a big like round of applause.
Any questions on that? I know this is confusing to look at, but
Why the 6.2? Like, I guess, where do you get that number? Like, why don't we do 50 million now and then?
yeah, so part of it, so you'll notice the final maturity is 4.7 million. Way down here. So for our financing plan to work as it currently stands, we would want at least that amount.
Okay.
And then we had an amount in those early years to, so next year we'll have more information. We'll be in a new biennial budget. We'll have a new valuation for the district. We'll know what the rest of your levy looks like for one more year. So it's one more year of information that we can decide what the district's total debt payments will be in 2026, 2027, and 2028. So it's really just to give us a little bit of flexibility over the next few years.
Okay. So we're hoping interest rates go down, obviously.
Sure, yes.
But like, what if they, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
Up to 8%.
Yeah, I will say the positive thing about higher interest rates, especially really short-term interest rates right now. So short-term interest rates are high. And that's because the Fed hasn't lowered the short-term interest rates a lot yet. And inflation is still sticky in the near term. So because short-term interest rates are high, you're issuing $45 million right now, but you don't need it all right now. So those funds are going to be invested. And because those short-term interest rates are high, you're going to earn more on your investments. So that's a good thing for issuing and locking in $45 million right now.
Okay, thank you.
And that investment earnings, there are two things you can do with it. One is complete additional projects that fit within the scope of the referendum. But if you don't have any, you can pay down your debt early.
I was going to say, thanks for adding that in, because I think I remember Brian talking about that last time, and he talked a lot of paying down. But I
Yes.
feel like after networking with other districts, they had shared how, well, we did this too because we had some extra interest earning. So thanks for clarifying that.
Yep, yeah, and the only caveat is that it does have to fit within the scope of the referendum. So if there are ever any questions at that point, you would work with the attorneys to confirm that it does fit. Okay. The last thing we included was the rating report. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but on your time, I encourage you to read through it. It includes a lot of information about the district, a lot of positive information about the district. Just a couple things that stand out is, it points to your strong fund balance and strong budgetary performance. So from a financial standpoint, the district is very strong, which ultimately leads to that great AA rating.
Wonderful.
Any other
And
questions?
just to clarify for people watching, fund balances really are, in effect, our reserves. So they know that we've actually got a fairly strong financial picture.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Jordan. Are there any other questions?
I just want to say I appreciate, your and Brian's time here over the last almost 2 years, I think. We wouldn't be able to do this type of strategy without strong partners like you. So we really just appreciate all the time that you've given us to get us to this point.
I appreciate that, and you've been a pleasure to work with.
Was today like Christmas, basically? Like, they all come in and you're just like,
It's nice to get to this point, yes.
very exciting.
All right, well, then we need a motion.
Let's see. Where are we here?
I'll move.
And, okay, 7A.
I'll move the board approve the resolution awarding the sale of $45 million general obligation promissory notes as presented.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any further questions or discussion? All right,
Second.
go ahead. Oh, he's second.
Kirk seconded too. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, sounds good. It's been moved and seconded, then I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Ken Imers,
Aye.
Andrea Graham,
Aye.
Kirk Lund,
Aye.
Brianna Beslick,
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, that passes. Thank you very much,
Thank you all.
Jordan.
Have a great evening.
Thank you,
Thank
Jordan.
you. All right, we will move on to 7B, open enrollment seats.
Okay, so we are required by state statute to set the open enrollment limits, if any, at the January board meeting. So I have attached a document for you. Same as every year, we have our class size guidelines and projecting ahead. The 4K numbers haven't changed, but we're looking at hopefully a fifth section of 4K in order to reduce the class sizes to 18. They've currently been in those four sections, anywhere between 22 and 24. So in the far right column, you see the new open enrollment spaces that we are recommending, and then no open seats in special education due to our current caseloads.
Are there any questions or a proposed motion?
So, sorry, the projected enrollment includes the new open enrollment seats, or that would be added on?
That's what we're projecting in our current, class list right now. That includes the current open enrolled students that are rolling forward. So the new open enrollment spaces would just be any new students coming into the district that would ask for open enrollment space.
Okay. Do we go with
Yeah.
this? I'll move the board approve 153 regular education open enrollment seats and 0 seats in the special education programs for the 2025-2026 school year based on the criteria outlined in the board's open enrollment policy 5113.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or questions?
Just to emphasize on, when there are 0 seats available, that means if somebody's coming from another district and wants to come in for special education.
Correct. If they moved into the district, obviously we would enroll the students, but that is closing out any open enrollment applications. And just as a reminder, the goal is to have 5 sections across the board in the district, so that open enrollment is tempered by that, so that we don't increase staffing. So that's absorbed into our regular staffing, which means we don't incur any additional expenses by taking in these open enrolled students.
All right, it's been moved and seconded, and I will ask for a roll call vote.
Andrea Graham,
Aye.
Kirk Lund,
Aye.
Brianna Beslick,
Aye.
Ken Imers,
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, the Wisconsin Association of School Board Resolutions. This is going to be, we have Kirk as our representative, and he did a very, very positive job last year, so, yeah, so I'll ask for a motion.
I've looked these over in detail, and I'd be willing to entertain then any of your thoughts on any of the resolutions to help give me guidance on going into the assembly.
I didn't have any, I thought they all looked like we would vote for them. I mean, they seemed, to support retaining staff, and there was some about early childhood and things. It didn't seem like there were too many either. I feel like last year, was there a lot more?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of a shorter
Well,
list this year.
Well, there's, and I don't remember if they did this the same or different than last year, but the yellow sheet that I got are the 12 resolutions that the committee forwarded with their approval to be considered by the assembly. And then there's a sheet of 17 resolution proposals that is inclusive of at least the ideas of the ones forwarded by the committee, but also includes ones that the committee had rejected and their reasoning, and we're asked to go over to be prepared on those as well, because they can be introduced from the floor at the delegate
Oh,
assembly.
okay. Gotcha.
So,
All right.
I did think there were some particularly good ones, especially I think the voucher school piece where they were asking to fund the voucher schools separately outside of the school, or, the school financial system. And also that voucher schools should have the same requirements as public schools, regulations and requirements. Those seem to be just kind of common sense things. Anyways.
All right. Do we have a proposed motion?
I'll move the board give Mr. Lund the latitude to vote on the Wisconsin Association of School Board resolutions at the 2025 Wisconsin State Education Convention.
I will second it. So. It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, I will ask for a roll call vote.
Kirkland.
Aye.
Kirkland.
aye.
Brianna Beslick.
Aye.
Ken Imers.
Aye.
Andrea Graham.
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, the Lake Mills Athletic Handbook approval. It's attached in Word and,
Yeah, I don't have a lot to offer on that. I know Attorney Brian Goodman really just took it and spent a lot of time on it, revamped it, got it up to speed with current laws and recommendations and things like that. So I had Kale and Justin both look over that extensively. They just switched some language regarding grades, but otherwise, I would just advise to take the recommendation of the attorney.
When was this last updated? Do you know?
I don't know. I had attended a legal seminar, it was about last summer, and as they were talking about athletic, lawsuits and things like that, I was looking at our handbook and I was like, oh yeah, we've got some of that similar language he was referring to that was out of date. So I really, I don't think it's been updated since I've been here. As far as I know, the board hasn't approved that, so it's been at least 5 years.
Page of the document that we have says revised 7/3/23.
Yeah.
So,
That was, I think, our dates as we were working with Brian Goodman. We started work with him early on from that, so I think that's where that date stems from.
okay.
all right.
And I could be wrong about that.
I did notice,
The school year.
I thought it was pretty good that it did seem like in a lot of instances, there's, kind of the handbook rule or policy, but then oftentimes there is room for the school staff to do what they think is best, or, there's a little flexibility in each of those areas. Which I thought was very helpful, because sometimes the letter of the law, so to speak, doesn't quite hit the situation,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then is this going to be edited again before final printing? I'm just noticing there's some
Yeah,
typos and stuff, and then
Yeah,
it's driving me
there's a-
nuts that there's some things that are like centered.
There's a lot of cleanup that
Okay.
needs to be done, and I was like, you know what, I'll wait till the
It's more
board
about the
approves it, and I can make
content.
those technical corrections, and we'll go through and clean it all up.
Perfect.
I'll move the board approve the Lake Mills High School Athletic Handbook as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Brianna Beslick.
Aye.
Ken Imers.
Aye.
Andrea Graham.
Aye.
Kirk Lund.
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, the Guaranteed Admissions Waiver, 2023 Act 95 motion. And again, it was discussed earlier in the meeting, so.
The information's on page 2 in the abstract of the language that the high school administration worked on as far as determining the tiebreaker.
So, I'll move the board approve the waiver to the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction of the requirement in Wisconsin Statute S 118.58(2), specifically the provision detailing that pupils shall be ranked on the basis of academic achievement, and the sole criteria for ranking pupils shall be the pupil's grade point average.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will ask for a roll call vote.
We just lost Kirk, so it'll have to come back up.
Sure.
Dave, I think you'll have to click on the link again.
No, I can't bring it back up because it ended. You have a free Zoom meeting, it's limited to 40 minutes.
Yeah, but I just restarted the link.
You just started it
Yeah.
again? Okay, I'll take me a couple minutes.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
I mean, you
I have him
could
on my
choose to
computer.
do- If he can hear you, I think then you're okay, right?
Okay.
It completely went away from my screen, so if you want me to, I'll get back into my email and get the link, but it's gonna take me 5 minutes.
No, I don't think it's worth it. I mean, we'll just bring him up here. There's only, all
She's not there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zoom meeting just ended, so.
right,
You let me know, you want me to get the link? No. All right.
no.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Then I will ask for a roll call vote for the guaranteed admissions waiver motion and second. So,
Is he connected?
He was.
Call him, but on speaker.
do you want to call him and put him on speaker?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone so we can finish. Okay.
Okay. Again, it's the roll call, roll call vote is for the guaranteed admissions waiver, that was, the proposed motion for that. So I will ask for a roll call vote.
Ken Imers,
Aye.
Andrea Graham,
Aye.
Kirk Lund,
Aye.
Brianna Beslick,
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, moving on to our gifts. And again, I'm always amazed every month, every time that, of the generous community donations towards our Lake Mills Area School District. And we will just list them off now.
I'll move the board, thank the generous donors for their continued support, as always, of our students and programs here at the Lake Mills Area School District. We have a $500 donation from the London Moravian Church to support student lunch accounts, a $500 donation from Selgin to the High School Technology Education Department to assist in purchasing new welders, an $800 donation from Evan and Kyle Guerra at the high school business department, $1,100 donation from Scott Galston's school lunch fundraiser to support student lunch accounts, and a $3,576.92 donation to the high school choir department from the Lake Mills Associate Staff Organization, the Custodian Union.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Andrea Graham,
Aye.
Kirk Lund,
Aye.
Brianna Beslick,
Aye.
Ken Imers,
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, moving on, we will now talk about the upcoming board agenda items. And they're all listed there. Due to the spring primary, the board will be held in the high school LMC on our February meeting. And then on that will be the WASB convention report, PMA CISA 6 OPEB trust approval, and then a solar project presentation. So. Okay. All right. With that, if there's no other future agenda items to discuss, I'll ask for a motion to move into executive session.
I'll move the board adjourn to executive session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, parentheses 1, parentheses C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically the district administrator's evaluation and administrator contracts.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Ken Imers,
Aye.
Andrea Graham,
Aye.
Kirk Lund, Brianna Beslick,
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, we are now in executive session.